Hello, it's Maxine. This is my chick, my last podcast. I told you I would show you one of the chicks that you hear in the background, and I didn't get to show you. So this is Marilyn. She's super cool. I've never had this breed before. When she first came, she was my sassiest of the chicks, and now I've been taming her, and she's really quite chill. So here she is, little Marilyn. I wanted to do that before I forgot again. But I just wanted to say, hey, thanks for being here. Again, this is Maxine. This is Marilyn. She's my guest for today. We're going to be getting into some really awesome mindfulness topics today. So most people have a mindfulness routine, things that they like to try to do each day, or in an ideal world that they would do each day. But does it actually happen? Right? And what does mindfulness look like? What can it look like? I have some really basic suggestions for you. I'm going to go through something that I had a coach previously do with me, and I thought was awesome. And it's something I still like to implement for my clients. I like to challenge people every day, ideally in the morning, to do something that challenges you, something that moves you, and something that grounds you. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, dokie. Yeah, these birds are getting bigger, honestly, guys. So like I said, something that challenges you, something that moves you, and something that grounds you. We're going to take this step by step here, and I'm going to start with that challenge thing, right? So challenging yourself every day can be a really great way to foster personal growth, build resilience, and maintain motivation, especially when it comes to any lifestyle habits that you're already making. In our situation, a lot of that is going to be fitness and nutrition related. So let's think about ways that we can challenge ourselves each day. Now, again, each of these things, I really want you to be thinking about doing them on a relatively small scale, an achievable scale on a daily basis. So when I first was presented with this challenge, I thought about, like I have 2 kids. I can't make something big and extravagant as part of my morning routine, right? And so just know that this isn't about that. This isn't making a big deal. What I want you to think about is challenges you in small ways, small achievable ways. So with these challenges, it's going to be stepping outside of your comfort zone. I want you to identify different areas in your life where you feel stuck or fearful or anything like that, and then search for ways that you can make attempts to like confront that. So maybe you've always wanted to journal, but it's like, oh, I just can't do it, right? Something like that. But here, let's go through some ideas. So one thing that you can work on is just some reflection. If you're not good at like self-reflection, or you would just like to be more intentional at it, you can at the beginning or end of each day think about the challenges that you went through, how you can do better with them the next day, celebrate your successes, learn from setbacks you may have had, make adjustments that you need in order to continue growing. So maybe that's challenging. Maybe you don't really like self-reflection. That could be a good thing to do. Another one, physical health. You could take a 15-minute walk. Do you hate walking? To just go out and walk sometimes is a challenge. It's snowing. It's been snowing all day. It's quite pretty here, honestly. Maybe it's drinking some water. People, let's drink some water. Has that been challenging for you to drink the water? Maybe that's the first thing that you do each day. That's part of your new morning routine, right? Have a big old glass of water before you eat. So think about those as physical challenges, right? If you're a person who already engages in strenuous physical activity, which is me, right? When I first was presented with this, I was already engaging in really hard stuff. And to think about something that challenged me, the challenge was then finding some slower movement. So, if it's a challenge for you to do sit-ups or to do push-ups or whatever, you can certainly go ahead and do that. Or if it's a challenge for you to get a certain step goal in, you can go ahead and have that as your challenge. But whatever it is, make it specific to yourself. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be. We're going to get into some things that move us, right? So it doesn't have to be physical, because we're going to have something else, perhaps physical, later. The next thing that could be challenging is just taking care of our mental health. So maybe you spend 5 minutes meditating, practicing deep breathing exercises. You can write down 3 things that you're grateful for each day. Maybe you're not good about thinking about the things that you're grateful for. Maybe you can learn a new word, a new dictionary word each day and try and use it in a conversation. The next thing that's like not exactly mental health related, but is at least stimulating that could be challenging is just like puzzles, right? Do a little puzzle or a brain teaser or Sudoku. There's so many really good little puzzles that you could do. That could be your challenge. Just get your brain working in the beginning of the day. Whatever you're doing in all of these, focus on being engaged with it. Whatever you're doing, just be really, really intentional and engaged with it. All right, the next thing, area that you could focus on if it's a challenge is personal growth. So maybe you want to read, right? I find reading to be a challenge because I have to sit there and do nothing else but read. But so that could be a challenge for you. Sit down and read 10 minutes of a book. Set aside 15 minutes to work on a hobby, this project that you really want to work on, hobby that you really want to work on, but you just don't really have the time. That could be your challenge, right? Work on it. You could journal, like I said earlier, for 5 minutes. Learn a new word in a foreign language, right? We talked about the English language. Maybe you want to work on a foreign language. Another challenge could be working on relationships. This one hits home because if you know me personally, I'm not always the best at getting back to people, friends, namely. So maybe the challenge is reaching out to a friend or family member who you haven't spoken to. Maybe it's to practice active listening, especially if you're a parent or a mom. You know how hard that can be with your own little loved ones who are the best ever. But to actively listen, really pay attention to what they're saying, focus on their words. Maybe that's the challenge. Maybe you are not the best at expressing appreciation in the way that you would like to be with the people that you care about. So that could be a challenge too. Productivity. I love this one. Make a to-do list for the day. Prioritize your tasks appropriately. Maybe you could set a timer, like a 20-minute timer, and get something that you've been putting off, get it done in those 20 minutes. Just sit down and get it done. You could tackle a task. And maybe that's like cleaning your desk. Oh, I never want to clean my desk. I honestly like a clear desk. Some people don't like clear desks. Don't pay attention to my ironing board behind me. That would not tell you that I like a clear desk. But whatever you do, you want to set some goals. So this is a nice one, honestly. I think a lot of people have a hard time with daily goals. So you can start by setting specific, achievable goals for yourself each day. These goals should be challenging enough to push you out of your comfort zone, but realistic enough to be attainable within your allotted time, right? So we're talking about a morning routine or a night routine. So you want it to fit within your time frame, but still challenging. Got 2 more little points in this challenge department. One is creativity. So you could spend 10 minutes sketching, doodling, writing a poem. Could be anything that you feel like you used to really, really like. I know I was like big into the arts in school, and I still am. I just don't have the time that I used to put into those creative outlets. And so maybe that's your challenge, right? Is going back to the hobbies that you used to really like. You could, again, write in a journal, right? This could be our, in this instance, it could be creative writing. Could be something with music. It could be learning an instrument. But whatever it is, if you feel like that challenges you, go for it. Self-care. You could practice 5 minutes of stretching. Wouldn't that be nice to wake up and have intentionally 5 minutes of stretching in your day? All these things can be challenges, right? So that's where I was going with this. These are just ideas. What can be nice is if you pick a thing and then build on it each day. But let's say you want to start writing and you start and you're going to give yourself 10 minutes or even 5 minutes of writing. Sit down, intentional writing. Then each day you're building on that. Next thing you know, you have a story, right? I mean, there's anything like that. These can all build on each other. If you decide you want a physical challenge, right? Like maybe one day you do 10 sit-ups, and that was the challenge. And then sooner or later you can do 20, sooner or later do 30. All of those can build on themselves. So these simple challenges can be adjusted to fit your schedule and preferences, and they serve as opportunities for personal growth and well-being on a daily basis. And over time, engaging in these small challenges can lead to positive habits and significant progress in various areas of your life. So just think about that. Think about what you want to do, right? This isn't about me. This isn't about other people. It's for you. What are you going to do to challenge yourself every day? Ideally, every morning within your morning routine. All right, the next topic is movement, right? Move. How can you move within your morning routine? Maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 10 minutes. Maybe you have a whole hour to set aside to your new morning routine. And if so, that is awesome. I don't. I super don't. So take all of this with a grain of salt. Now, movement is pretty straightforward. What I'm going to talk about is what you can think about while you're moving. So again, for me, when I was working on this with my coach and I was working on movement, I was like, I already work at the gym. I already get steps in it and I'm walking. I already do all these things, but like a new movement challenge or a movement thing, what am I going to do? And what I ended up doing was I used the Calm app. Not that it's sponsored or anything, but Totally Calm can super sponsor me because I'm down. But in the Calm app, they have the daily move. And it's just like 5 minutes of relatively slow, focused movement. And I was like, yes, slow, focused, 5 minutes, sign me up. And that was my movement. So, but maybe your movement is a walk, right? Maybe your movement is those sit-ups. Maybe it's whatever. It can be whatever you want it to be, but find a way to incorporate movement into your morning routine. So here's what I want you to focus on while you're moving, whatever movement that may be for you. Maybe it's yoga, maybe it's going to the gym, maybe it's a walk, maybe it's the Calm app, doing gentle stretching, it's whatever. Number one, focus on the sensations that you're experiencing. I want you to pay attention to everything that's happening around you as you move. Like, what is your body doing in the air around you? I know it sounds like a little hippy dippy, right? And maybe it even is. But to think about how your body is moving like that, how you're breathing, what is your chest doing while you're moving? And that kind of goes into that next point, breathing mindfully. So thinking about when you're taking in your breaths, when you're letting out your breaths, maybe changing it, doing a big inhale. Do it with me. Really slow exhale. And then maybe the next one, you do a big inhale and a quick and hard exhale. But whatever you're doing, again, be mindful with it. Think also about, are you aligned? Right? We talked about where your body is in space. Is your head over your shoulders? Are your shoulders back? Is your spine straight? Are your hips feeling off? Try and be really aligned in your movement. And then stay present. So being present in that movement, not thinking about everything else that's going on. That's why 5 minutes, 10 minutes can be really nice. Because when you're busy, it's easy to be distracted by other things. But if you can just stay present for this time, you're doing this for yourself, this movement is for you, that can be such a really lovely and important thing to do. And this is the last thing, practice non-judgment. Nobody cares how you look while you're doing your movement. Nobody cares what's going on around you, what things you may have done or not done, what things you think you should be doing instead, what you wished your body looked like, what you wished you ate better yesterday. or ate differently yesterday, or how you feel like you should eat afterwards. Don't judge yourself. It's about that moment. It's about the taking care of yourself in that moment. So that's what I have to say about movement. That's what I want you to do each day as part of your morning routine, is think about how can you move your body a little bit, part of your morning routine in a really mindful way. Lastly, grounding. Grounding can mean different things for everyone, right? So some people, they take grounding as literally like, let's go and connect our energies to the core of the earth. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not anti. Something about the magnetic fields, doesn't come through the shoes in the same way as it goes right through your feet. Am I right? Again, maybe I'm a little hippy dippy. But let's talk about what grounding is. So grounding is a technique that's used to help bring your awareness back to the present moment and connect with your surroundings. It involves focusing on sensory experiences in the here and now, such as physical sensations, sounds, or visual cues, in order to anchor yourself in reality and alleviate feelings of stress, anxiety, or dissociation. Dissociation is like a big one, right? Because we're like, I can't be here in this moment. No, we're gonna be here in this moment. You don't have to be in nature to practice grounding exercises, but I like being in nature. So it's nice being in nature. We can experience the fresh air and like note what that feels like coming through our nasal passage. We can hear the birds, although you can hear the birds in this podcast a little bit. Maybe you can hear water near wherever you are. You can feel your feet on the ground, feel what that feels like. You can take in the sights and sounds around you when you're outside a little bit differently than the status quo inside. So you can experiment with all sorts of different techniques, find out what works for you. Different grounding exercises can vary wildly, and it just depends on whatever your individual preferences and circumstances are, whether they are going to work for you. But either way, you want them to be relatively easy to accomplish because I want you to make them part of your morning routine. So one thing can be deep breathing, right? Just really, we talked about breathing a little bit, and I want you to do that during your movement anyway. Having some slow, intentional, deep breathing can be really nice. Count your breaths. Think about how it feels when the air comes into your body, how it feels when you let your breath out. It can be incredibly calming. You can also do a body scan. So close your eyes, think about each part of your body. Start at your toes and then move upwards. Think about, what are my toes doing right now? Keep it slow and steady. What's happening with each of those things? Another technique you can implement is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. I really like this one. Again, the Calm app has a really great meditation that does the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. But 5-4-3-2-1, if you haven't heard of it, is look around, identify 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. Sometimes it's hard to figure out those things. I actually did this with my daughter not long ago. She was having some stress and I brought her outside and we did this. And it's fun. It's going to really bring you back down into this moment, right? You can do there's grounding objects. I wasn't aware of this one, honestly, but it sounded good. So I figured I'd share it. So anything with an interesting texture, like a smooth stone or a piece of fabric, a stress ball, you can think about the tactile sensations that are going on when you touch those things. Honestly, like this is just like a little nail thing, right? And I'm touching it because I know it has a weird texture and it's a little sharp on both ends. It doesn't have to be a formal thing, right? But make it intentional. You can also do some visualization techniques. You can think about, I like this one a lot, and I've done it a number of times, even in therapy. I really like to do this one outside. Honestly, it's my favorite to sit down on the ground outside, put my fingers down onto the earth, and literally imagine myself grounded like a tree, right? If I'm standing, I can think about my feet being firmly planted into the ground. My feet are rooted deep into the earth. Think about the roots extending from your feet or your fingers, giving you stability and strength. Little visualizations like that can be so empowering and confidence building. So you can do these anywhere, anytime. But I want to talk to you quick about how we're putting it all together, right? So again, bringing it all home, something that challenges you, something that moves you, something that grounds you. So what I want you to think about implementing is for up to 30 minutes in the morning, right? Or more, if you have more time, God bless you, go for it. But if you don't, I want you to give yourself 30 minutes to achieve something that challenges you, something that moves you, and something that grounds you. You probably noticed a lot of these overlapped, right? So it's like, well, Maxine, if I go and take a walk, that's challenging because I don't normally walk, and it moves me because I'm walking, and it grounds me because I'm feeling grounded. I don't really want you to cheat like that. I want you to challenge yourself. I want you to challenge yourself to make each thing distinct, right? It's going to be its own thing. So if your challenge is going to be to do your push-ups, then make your move goal something else. And if what grounds you is a walk, then make your moves something else. Or, you're getting the picture, right? So that's all I really wanted to talk about today, right? Is this mindfulness practice. When we can do it every single day, it is just so beneficial for us. If you can do this every day for a week, you are going to feel so amazing. Then think if you do it every day for a month. All right. That's all I have to say today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the time together, and I hope you enjoyed listening, and I hope you enjoyed little Marilyn, the chick. And if you have any other questions, anything you want to hear from me, please never hesitate to let me know. I'll talk to you soon.